On Friday, I learned the white magic spell of Distraction. It costs 15 mana to perform and causes a target to be temporarily confused, forgetting to act in the following moment. I also learned Sacrifice. It only costs 1 mana. The caster expends life energy in order to gain magical energy. On Saturday, I head to the library to study, although today, Minnie is nowhere to be seen. As I'm headed back to my room, however, I can't help but catch a whiff of smoke in the air. "Hey guys," I say as I pop my head in the room. "Do you smell smoke?" "Bonfire," Virginia replies automatically. "Bonfire," Ellen echoes. "What bonfire?" "For the New Year's ceremony tomorrow night," Virginia explains. "They use the ashes." Ellen and I push up close to the window and try to get a look outside. It's hard to tell, but I think I can see Minnie and Jacob near the flames. Is this a student council thing? Should I be out there helping them? I'm sure Minnie would have fetched me if she needed me, although perhaps Professor Grabiner told her that he didn't want me to be involved. I suppose we'll find out more tomorrow. In the evening, we are all summoned from our dorms by figures wearing hoods and masks who lead us outside. We sit on the ground in groups by hall, horses with horses, wolves with wolves, and so on. Then, the seniors from each hall stand and form a line leading up to the remains of the bonfire where Professor Potsdam is waiting. One at a time, they take a long wooden stick and stir through the remains of the ashes. "The old year has died," Professor Potsdam proclaims. "The past is gone and will not come again. Let us leave behind our sorrows in the ashes of the past. As these ashes become soil, so may our hearts become the ground of the future." After all of the seniors have had their turn and have taken their seats again, Minnie and the other class presidents bring new wood to place on top of the old. "Let the new year be born," Professor Potsdam exclaims. The pile of wood glows with tiny sparks. 4, 8, 12, until, at last, curls of orange flame begin to blossom and the fire is rekindled. "We need an omen for the new year," she continues. "If anyone here has been experiencing a reoccurring dream and would like to share it with us." At first there's silence, except for the muffled squeak from where the Snake Girls are sitting. It looks like Barbara was not keen on having Suki share her dreams. Eventually, Angela stands up and tells us about a dream about a pink birthday cake sitting in a field of cows. She takes the cake and runs away from the cows, but when she cuts into the cake, it's made of sand and it collapses. Professor Potsdam nods solemnly. "Meditate on this dream and what meaning it might have for your lives in the new year." "It means I shouldn't eat cake with Angela?" "And may the seeds of the past bear fruit in you all." As she finishes speaking, everyone stands up and dances in the light of the new fire until it's time to go to our rooms and sleep. I'm still sleepy from the bonfire last night, so I decide to sleep in on Monday morning. On Tuesday, I take Blue Magic class and learn Reflection. It costs 15 mana to perform and interrupts a spell being cast to reflect it on its caster. I also learn Cloak. It costs 25 mana and allows the caster to alter air visual projections, becoming difficult to see for a short period of time. This week, I actually learned several new spells, thanks to my sextant's increase in blue magic. I learned the red and blue magic spell called Burn Magic. It costs 20 mana to perform and transmutes the target's magical energy into heat, causing damage. The blue and white spell called Drain Magic costs 1 mana and allows a caster to steal a small amount of magical energy from a target. Another blue and white magic spell I learned was Anti-Magic Field, which costs 30 mana and prevents new spells from being cast in a square for a limited time. At least Minnie was in the library on Saturday, so we studied black magic together. Otherwise, my weekend was pretty uneventful. In red magic class on Monday, I learned Crush, which costs 15 mana and causes a force to push in around the target from all sides, causing damage. After class ends, all students are called together in the gym. There's a table on the stage containing a row of brightly colored candles, of which only one, at the end, is lit. Today, we are here to recognize outstanding Iris Academy seniors, the best and the brightest of our young people, with induction into the Magical Honor Society. But what you should be most proud of is not the honor you receive today, but the choices and the sacrifices you have made that led you to this point, and to points beyond. A life well lived is its own reward. As seniors, you stand as shining examples to those who will follow you. Therefore, as I call your names, please come up to the stage and take one of these candles to pass on the light. She lists off a number of seniors. William and Isabel are among them, but Damien is not. Each takes the candle that has been most recently lit and touches it to the next candle in line, passing the flame. And one more student who deserves special recognition for her hard work and creative thinking in proposing a new theory behind the Icarus effect, Angela Kirsch. Angela walks up on the stage, all smiles, and I can actually hear Ellen grinding her teeth beside me. I wonder what's on her mind. Each one of you has a calling in life, Potsdam continues. You set your own goals and strive to achieve them. Your goals are yours alone, and what is easy for you may not be easy for others. Whatever you do, never crush someone else's dream, for then you can be sure that you are not working towards your own. After that speech, we are dismissed with a candle still burning. When I arrive at class the next day, the only sign of Professor Grabiner is 2 words written on the blackboard in white letters. Free period. We wait for a few minutes, just in case it's a prank, but he still doesn't turn up. I guess class is canceled for today. I decide to take it easy for the day, but as I am headed back to my room, I hear a voice call out to me. "Oh, Tori," Professor Potsdam asks as she appears beside me. "Might I borrow you for a bit?" "What is it?" I ask. "I'm afraid dear Hieronymous is a bit under the weather, and I'm sure you can imagine what a terrible patient he makes." I laugh under my breath. "Could I trouble you to carry up some soup from the kitchens to his room? It has to be done by hand, or it might spill." I hesitate for a moment. Professor Grabiner made it clear that he didn't want to see me. Then again, maybe I was supposed to perform this duty for him, as his wife. "Of course I'll help." "Good girl," Professor Potsdam coos. Before I know it, I'm loaded down with instructions. How to reach the kitchens, which soup in which china he prefers, how to arrange silverware properly on a tray, and, most nerve-wracking of all, how to enter Professor Grabiner's private rooms, which is where I find myself now. "You, what are you doing here?" At any other time, he would have bellowed, and I would have jumped and spilled the soup, and things would have only gotten worse from there. But, as it is, I was expecting something like this, and it seems that he doesn't actually have the energy to scream at me. "Professor Potsdam sent me, with your soup." He sighs. "Very well. Where should I put the tray?" "That desk. Over there." He nods to a desk that is covered with papers that look like student essays. I hesitate as I survey it cautiously. But you have papers on it. He raises an eyebrow and says nothing. Fine. I suppose he knows what papers should and should not have soup on them. I put the tray down. He crosses the room and sinks into the desk chair, the fringe of his cape swirling and collapsing like a sigh. This close, I can see the hair clinging to his skin. I'm sorry you're not feeling well. Is there anything else I can do for you? You can leave me in peace. I looked down and away. I was trying so hard, but it seemed that Professor Grabiner was determined to hate me. Earning back his respect was a battle I was never going to win. Fine, I'm going. Wait. He must have either seen something in my expression or heard something in my voice, and I stop as I turn around to face him. I appreciate what you have done for me. However, I would prefer that it were not necessary. I am not accustomed to having students in my rooms. I prefer my privacy. Yes, sir, I reply. At least that I can understand. I hope you feel better soon. I will be fine. Now go. I turn and head out of the room quickly, making sure to shut the door quietly behind me. At least I survived my trip into the dragon's den, and he did seem nicer to me than the last time I saw him in class. Maybe he was just that sick, or maybe he was starting to forgive me after all. Hieronymous sighs as he watches her go. He did not like anyone to see him weak and vulnerable, and right now he felt as vulnerable as he could possibly be. He was always struck by seasonal allergies this time of year, but the lack of sleep from his frequent nightmares seemed to make things worse this year. Fine, I'm going. This was what he wanted, wasn't it? Hadn't he wanted Tori to hate him? To avoid him at all costs? It seemed he was succeeding in pushing her away, but he couldn't deny that it was making him as miserable as she seemed to be. Tori's happy smile used to be infectious. He remembered when she sat in his class in the fall and smiled as she learned, grinning to herself as she took notes. She beamed whenever she answered a question correctly, and she was positively glowing whenever she learned a new spell. Maybe that raw enthusiasm for learning had been what had drawn him to her before, but there was nothing to be enticed by now. He couldn't remember the last time he had seen her smile. She didn't look happy to be in class. She seemed to perform her treasury duties and attend her classes with a weary sense of resignation, like a drafted soldier determined to make the best out of his dreary circumstance. And it was his fault. He looks down at the tray. There sat his favorite soup in his favorite china, with all of the silverware arranged properly on the tray in front of him. Potsdam had to have told Tori what he preferred. After all, how else would Tori have known how to get into his private rooms? But some part of him couldn't help but wonder if it wasn't intentional. What if Tori had been tasked with fetching his soup, and she had just happened to select exactly what he wanted? He wasn't sure why he wanted this to be true. Suddenly, he couldn't help but think back to Christmas time, when he had been content to sit and read with her beside him. He almost wished he had asked her to stay now. He could pretend to stay angry at her, but the truth was, he wasn't angry at her. Potsdam was right. It had been his fault that Tori had put her life in danger to save him, and blaming her for his own ineptitude only served to try to ease his responsibility from his mind. No, he had to own up to this, and the only way he was going to do that was by trying to repair things between him and Tori. Maybe, just maybe, If he could see her smile again, it might alleviate the gloom that seemed to be suffocating them both.